So a couple of years ago, I discovered these phone cases that I just became instantly obsessed with, which I know maybe sounds a little bit ridiculous because we're talking about a phone case. And honestly, I am usually pretty utilitarian about my phone cases. I don't swap my phone case out. I don't usually have like colorful or exciting phone cases. I have one phone case and it's black, which is not interesting whatsoever. But something about these phone cases just like wormed its way into my brain. Just the idea of having one of these like little cute beaded straps dangling out of my back pocket when I have my phone tucked away is just, it's so good. And I want it so badly. Unfortunately, they only make these cases for iPhones and I don't have an iPhone. And when I saw that a couple of years ago, like they literally say on their website, we only support iPhones for now. And I honestly, a couple of years ago, I was like, that's fine. We can be patient. We can wait. Eventually, they must come out with an Android version. That has not changed in the, I don't know, at least 2 years since I have been obsessively checking their website and keeping tabs on a phone case. And then 1 month ago, my phone case broke, which meant I needed to buy a new one. And there's obviously endless options out there, but I don't want any of the options that are available to me. I want this one phone case. And I think the fact that I'm not allowed to have it honestly makes me want it even more. What my brain automatically started to do was to figure out how I could make one for myself. Because if you look at these phone cases, like yes, the straps are kind of the cool, special, exciting part, but all they need to connect to the actual phone case are these two little pieces of hardware, which in my mind, it's like, how proprietary can this technology be? I just have a hard time believing that this is some like super niche item that is only being manufactured for this one phone case company. The first thing I searched was ball chain connector, which obviously just brings up this little piece, which, you know, is attached to the straps that come with these phone cases. And I guess what I was really looking for is like a ball chain connector, which is not a thing. I started to think like maybe this is just a piece of hardware that exists somewhere in the world, like a special kind of rivet. So I started looking into like just wholesale hardware supply and like the different kinds of rivets that people offer. And I couldn't find anything that looked like this with that ball on the end and the flat back, which is frustrating because you can find 8mm ball chain really easily from all sorts of different suppliers. But obviously the ball chain doesn't give me that like back rivet piece that I need to connect it to the phone. This took me down a whole rabbit hole of learning how ball chains are made and how to create a continuous ball chain, which, you know, people use for like window shades. I learned through this process that a ball chain is really just, you know, these silver balls that are hollow with pins set in them. And the pins have a little head on them, which, you know, is a big enough diameter that it doesn't pull through the opening in the ball, which obviously keeps it chained. The way you create a continuous ball chain is by using a tool called a ball chain joiner, which is actually really interesting. It has this little spike on one end that allows you to open the hole in the ball part of the chain wider so that you can pull a pin out or add a pin back in. And then it has a perfectly like spherical like mold to like crimp the ball part back into a perfect sphere. They don't make a ball chain joiner, as far as I can tell, in an 8mm size. And I just don't think that I'm going to be able to like reshape that 8mm ball into a perfect sphere without this tool. And if it's not a perfect sphere, I think it's gonna look not great. B, I'm not sure that it's going to sit properly in the ball chain connector, which is its entire utility. So without that, like I felt honestly a little stuck. I literally went down a whole train of thought figuring out, can I make, like, how do they make the balls for the ball chain? And I don't know, like, I'm not trying to be a manufacturer, really. It just felt overly complicated for what I was trying to do. But I had hit so many dead ends that I kind of gave up for a while. And that's when I realized that part of my problem was that I've never actually seen one of these phone cases in person. So I ordered one. And I have it. And we have made some breakthroughs. So I'm gonna show you what we're working with. So it's literally just a clear, flexible plastic case, nothing that exciting, with these two metal balls on the end. And it's just like the ball part attached to a little pin, and then it has just a little flat head on the inside that keeps it secured to the phone case itself. Part of my thought process in the back of my mind when I ordered this was maybe the solution is just to remove their hardware from this case and put it into a different case that fits my phone. For that idea to work, I was really, like, ideally these pins or the ball part of this would have just been threaded. So I could literally just twist this off, remove it, and it would be that simple. It's not that simple. These may be threaded, they may not be threaded. I have no idea. They have obviously been glued or epoxied so that you can't remove it, which honestly makes sense. It's probably a lot more secure so that these don't fall off and you drop your phone, which kind of defeats the whole purpose. So I kind of sat with it, ended up feeling a little bit stuck again. The difference this time was that I had this in my hand to mess around with and look at as I was frustrated. And that is when we had our breakthrough. Because as I was looking at this, and I just kept thinking, like, the flat backs of these reminded me of piercing jewelry. And if you've ever had like a cartilage piercing, you know that they'll use a flat back like this at the end of the post so that it doesn't stick out like a normal earring back would, doesn't get caught on things. And it made me wonder if they make piercing jewelry that is an 8mm ball. And as it turns out, they do. It is a very standard thing in the piercing world. There are tons of wholesale piercing jewelry websites that supply both the ball part of this and the post with the back. They're threaded, just like I thought. And best of all, they're like 50 cents. We're not going to talk about the names of these piercing supply websites. It's just a thing that you and I aren't going to do. We're not going to acknowledge it. We're not going to talk about it because honestly, it's a little rough. I did Google them to make sure they were legit and I wasn't going to get scammed. They seem to be legit. I don't know who picked these names or why. So we're just not going to talk about it. The important takeaway here is that I can buy this hardware for very little money, and I'm almost certain that it's going to work for what I need it to do. So my next steps here are to order a clear phone case, order some of this hardware, and then I guess we move on to the build phase of this project. Okay, it's been like 6 weeks since I ordered all of my materials. The phone case got here in like 2 days, but it took 6 weeks for the piercing hardware to get here. I didn't realize it was being shipped from Switzerland, so that was my bad. Took a little bit longer than expected, but it's here now. Hopefully everything is what we expected it to be. I am most nervous about the piercing hardware. If it isn't right, if it isn't what I need, A, I'm kind of back to the drawing board on this, and B, I might have to wait another 6 weeks to get it. So fingers crossed. It's perfect. It's perfect. They're perfect. I don't know if you can see that. I will do a close-up shot. But do you see what I am talking about? That is exactly what is on that phone case. Look at it. I bought several different sizes and types because if I was going to order it at all and I had to pay for shipping, I figured I might as well get a few different options. So I did get like just the ball part separately from what they call a elaborate pin, which is this pin with the little flat end. So I did buy both of those separately. But then they also had some that came as a whole piece. So I bought that. And honestly, all of these look like they're gonna work. I was so nervous about it, but seeing it in person, I know before I even open the phone straps that this connects to, that this is gonna work. That is very exciting. I am very happy about that. Let's open the straps. Oh, they're so good. Okay, so I got two. This was the one that like very initially caught my eye. It's these like, it's ball chain with these like iridescent giant sequins on it. And then I got one that's this like, they're like stones, if you can see that. These like really pretty brown and green stones. Let me open these for real now. It's so good. Oh, it's so good. And you can see this is the piece that this needs to clip into. So for the real moment of truth, all right, I'll do it this way so you can watch. Just needs to go in there. I'm literally speechless. I'm so excited. That is literally perfect. That could not be more perfect. I mean, this is what started the whole obsession. I have wanted to put this on my phone so I can carry my phone around like this for literally like 3 years. And I finally cracked the code. It is so perfect. This is perfect. This is everything, like my wildest expectations of what this was going to be. This has lived up to that, which like, how often does that happen in life? Not very often. This is a very good day. This is a very exciting day. Now that I know all of these things work and it's going to be exactly what I need to finish this project, all I need to do is get these pins in the phone case. So I've been deliberating on exactly how I want to make the holes in my phone case. And I kind of think I have two options. The first is to use like an awl or just a sharp tool to literally punch a hole through it. And my worry about that is that because it doesn't like remove any material, I don't want to end up with like dangling plastic bits, which brings us to method number 2, which is to drill a couple of little holes, which means it's time to head to the drill press. This is... Look at it! This is better than I even expected it to be. I just got home from taking this bad boy on its inaugural journey out into the world and can confirm that it worked exactly like it was supposed to. It felt totally secure. I wasn't worried about my phone falling. I will say that was something I had to troubleshoot yesterday. I found just like testing this around the house that the ball part of the piercing hardware would periodically unthread itself and then fall off, which meant that my phone would fall. So I did end up adding a little bit of glue to the situation. I just used some gap filling CA glue, just super glue, and let it cure overnight. And that seemed to do the trick. Like, I have not had any issues with this feeling loose or insecure at any point today. And I've been walking around all morning long. Despite my best efforts with the drill press, there was a little bit of residual plastic just dangling on to the holes that I drilled. Luckily, I was able to remove these pretty easily with an X-Acto knife. Honestly, I couldn't be happier with how this whole thing turned out. I am so excited about the final result. If you couldn't tell from the footage immediately following the success of the installation process yesterday, like, this is just honestly like the best case scenario. I am very excited to be able to swap the straps in and out as I please. I do also have some ideas for how to make the strap itself and, you know, add whatever embellishments I want, which I think will be very fun and exciting. So keep an eye out for that in a future video. And I do just want to say that the whole point of this was not to avoid spending money on something that exists in the world. I think if this is something that you like and you appreciate the design of, you can and should buy it from the original designer. That is why I bought the straps from the designer, because the straps are what I loved so much about this. And I loved them so much that it literally motivated me to do this whole project in the first place. And the only reason I felt the need to do this project was because they didn't make a case that was compatible with a non-iPhone. Honestly, just buying it would be a lot less work. I not only had to do like days of research to try to figure out what this hardware even is, I then had to order it from Switzerland, wait 6 weeks for it to arrive, drill holes into my phone case, and all of that had the potential to fail, and I wouldn't have this end result. I would just have wasted a bunch of time and money and resources to have a bunch of like useless material. That said, if you feel inspired to make something like this for yourself, maybe you also don't have an iPhone, maybe you also love the design of these phone straps and you want to partake in them yourself, I think it's fun to know that it's totally possible. I will leave a link in the description to these phone cases and these phone straps. Honestly, I will say, like, the quality of it is excellent. Like, super, super impressed with how sturdy this feels. And also, I think the like aesthetics and the design, it just speaks for itself. Like, I don't think I need to endorse that. You can see how excellent this whole situation is. So all in all, I'm gonna consider this project a total success. I feel like I really unlocked a lot of things on the process of figuring out how this was made. And I am just so excited to be able to use these phone straps every single day, everywhere I go, for the rest of time.